Welcome. You're now standing at the highest point of a Senwes grain-link silo. Storage and handling services are integral to what Senwes grain-link offers to their clients. That's why GrainLink is taking you on a guided virtual tour today, where you will experience the inner workings of a silo. Remember, feel free to look around you during the tour. A silo's logistic and operational capabilities are fully displayed during the receiving season. In a single day, as much as 3,000 tons of grain can be received. At an average of 15 tons per load, it represents an unloaded vehicle leaving the premises every 3 minutes. After today's tour, you will realize that this is truly lightning fast. But let's start at the beginning to get a full perspective of the entire process. As you can see, the delivery vehicle makes its way to the sampling platform as soon as it arrives at the silo premises. Here, a representative sample of the consignment is taken to be graded. Then, it's taken to the grading office. In the meantime, the loaded vehicle is weighed. In the office, the grade and weight information is entered into the computer system. Depending on the type of grain and grade, the vehicle is allocated to a hopper where the grain is unloaded. The vehicle is then weighed again, and the result is captured on the system. The receiving documents, also containing all the grade and weight information, are then issued. And lastly, the vehicle leaves the premises. The same grading and weighing process also takes place during the loading of grain. By the way, besides road transport, grain can also be transported by rail. Currently, approximately 80% of grain in South Africa is transported by road and 20% by rail. But that's not all, because what you can't see on the premises is what's happening inside the silo. Are you ready to experience all the inner workings of this silo? Then what are we waiting for? During the grain intake process, the grain is dumped into the hopper and lands on a conveyor belt that transports it to the workhouse. There, a bucket lift takes it to the highest point in the workhouse, where it lands on the conveyor belt of the upper gantry. In this manner, the grain is assigned to a specific tube allocated to the grain. The mechanism that moves the grain from the conveyor belt into the tube is called a cart, and here it comes now. This cart is positioned above the inlet of this specific tube. Yes, you guessed it, you are now standing inside an empty silo tube. Look out, the grain is starting to fall. This is what the inside of a silo tube looks like when grain is poured at 120 tons per hour. The aforementioned process is applied to every load at an average of only 3 minutes per load. So, are you starting to realize just how remarkable this achievement is? Under the right conditions, grain can be stored for years in a silo. But of course, the grain's quality needs to be preserved. 4 important handling processes are implemented to ensure grain quality: aeration, drying, fumigation, and cleaning. Aeration is done to condition grain. This means that moisture and temperature levels are evenly spread throughout the grain. Some tubes are therefore equipped with a moisture and temperature monitoring system and a strong fan that can be observed and activated from this control panel. As soon as the grain is poured into the tube, the fan is activated, and it only gets switched off once the conditioning process is complete. In front of us is the grain dryer. Because equipment is optimally utilized during the day for the intake of grain into the silo, drying usually takes place at night. The grain vibrates through the dryer from the top and lands on subsequent levels, while air from 6 big fans blow over it. By the time the grain is poured back into a tube, it is cooled down. Fumigation happens through the application of the prescribed product on the top belt through the use of a pill dispenser. The tube is then sealed for a period of 14 days. When this period expires, the air in the top of the tube is tested to ensure that the residue meets legal requirements and that the grain is fit for human and animal consumption. Now we come to the cleaning process, which takes place at the cleaning machine. Here the grain falls through screens while larger bits of foreign material are left behind. After the necessary handling processes have been successfully completed, consignments of grain can be loaded. And there you have it. That's in a nutshell how the storage and handling of grain takes place at a silo. I hope that you truly enjoyed the virtual tour of the Senwes GrainLink silo. Goodbye and feel free to come and visit us again. Senwes GrainLink, investment in technology and infrastructure. Senwes, breaking new ground.